Okay, I'm just going to go through some of the accessories that I've bought for my CRF here in the UK. She's a bit dirty, I haven't had a chance to clean her. So first thing I bought was the FMF Q4 with Mega Bomb, and also that came with the EJK unit, which is under the seat. The whole thing is very easy to fit. Everything just fitted perfectly. It came from CRFs only in the US of A, and that was a grand total of 963 quid, but that did include a 13 tooth sprocket on the front and the 42 tooth sprocket on the rear, which is another mod that I did. So, oh, and by the way, when you order that from America, I didn't know this at the time, it was 963 quid, but of course you've got to pay the VAT. The customs held it in the UK until I paid my dues. So that was a bit of a pain, because that added another 126 quid on. But basically the EJK unit is just plug in and play. You just unplug. Something in here is a little bit fiddly, it's right up in there. You just unplug it basically, and it's the electronic jet kit controller, which kind of matches the FMF. Probably the most important thing that I bought was the Michelin Anarchy Wilds, which I bought really quickly. Can't remember where I got them from now. It might have been Demon Tweaks, but the size for the Anarchy Wilds was 120/80 on the rear and 90/90 on the front, and that was 130 quid. Now I run those on the road at about 15 psi, and then when I get on the trail I might lower them down to 12.5 psi, depending on the conditions of the trail. I have got a little pump which I can bolt into my USB charger, which I also had added on. So the tyres probably were the most important thing that I added on, in my opinion. And of course the FMF, I suspect you can get cheaper, Scorpions or something, but the FMF, I love the sound of it, and if you've seen my videos obviously you know what it sounds like. Other essential part that I bought was the Ad-Tek MX belly pan, which is quite nice and light. It's just it's aluminium and it's bloody strong. Goes right on up underneath, which is where you want it obviously, so I've got no fear of going over rocks or trees or anything like that. Other essential bit of thing, the Zeta hand guards with titanium rails on there, and they've certainly protected my levers, because I have come off a couple of times obviously. And you can see the kind of scratch marks that you get on here, which going through narrow trails. Oh, that was another little add-on. What else have I done to it? Oh, K&N filter I've put in just to help it breathe a bit better. I haven't taken the snorkel off, and I haven't drilled holes in the filter box. I thought that was a bit unnecessary, and I didn't want water to ingress in there. So I had the rack that was put on when it was new. It's not a particularly good rack, but it is fairly useful. Of course, the R&G tail tidy, an essential piece of kit, a little bit fiddly to put on, but I kept the original indicators or blinkers or whatever you want to call them, because I couldn't be asked to do all the wiring for that basically. And I don't really care whether they're big indicators or not. Tail tidy, yeah, done that. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've done to it. Obviously I've had the USB port put on. Oh, the other important thing, of course, is my comfy cheeks, which is just sticks on with Velcro. Brilliant, that is. You know, if it's quite a long way to get to a trail, just saves my arse from getting numb. So that's another excellent little add-on. It's pretty much the same as an Airhawk, except this one is better in some respects because it sort of velcros on, so when you get to the trail you haven't got to fiddle around with clips and fiddle about. You just pull that off, chuck it in your rucksack, and away you go. So that's really nice. I think that's just about, oh, apart from my little Easter bunny, of course. That's pretty much all the mods that I've done to this bike. I say pretty much, that's the best part of 1500 quid. So, you know, the FMF was the most expensive thing really, at 963 that came out at, plus the 126 VAT. So I mean, if you took that off, the other things, the tyres, they were 130. The Zeta armour guards were 65. The Ad-Tek MX belly pan was 85. The K&N filter 50 quid. And I can't remember how much the R&G tail tidy was, but if you took off the FMF exhaust with the EJK, oh, and the sprockets, of course, the 13 and 42, which has revolutionised the bike in my opinion on the trails, and it's not too bad when you're on the roads basically. I tend to not go on motorways because they're just boring and it's not really a motorway bike for a start. So for the back row, I mean, it'll go 70 mile an hour, no problem, but I tend to stick to the back roads anyway, and 50-60 mile an hour she's perfectly happy. But the Anakee Wilds, I really rate those. The OEM tyres were absolute rubbish on the road. The front tyre was just felt awful, really vague, and I fucked around with the air pressure on it to see if I could get it to perform any better, but it was horrible on the road and it was horrible on the trails as well. And I never regret putting these Anakee Wilds on. They're a 50-50 tyre, and okay, sometimes on these wet horrible trails could do with a bit more grip, but you know, you've got to have a bit of a balance because I do take it on the road as well. So I think for a 50-50 tyre they are bloody good. I highly recommend those, and for 130 quid it's a pretty good investment. Obviously I fitted them myself. If you go to a shop and get them fitted, it's going to cost you more. So basically those are my updates, which in my opinion are essential. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you like that, Rick. And catch you on the next one.